because everybody fell off. So let me send a few messages online real quick.
Okay.
That was my fault. I clicked the wrong button, to leave the group.
Hey, Salak, to everybody out there in the stratosphere, the universe, we do apologize for the abrupt um, cancellation of the live stream. Now there's dealing with their technology. Technology is
John,
perfect, but we do the best that we can um, and use it for the positive. So we left off talking about Moses,
hey Chief
but
Priest, let's give it a couple of minutes because there's only one. They're slowly funneling back in. I see we got
oh,
3 viewers. Like if you look up at the top right left hand corner, you'll see the amount of viewers. So let's give them a couple of minutes. I see Matthias here. I just dropped it in all the AOC groups, and let's give them a couple of music. And what I'll do is bring the speaker right here for me.
okay, kind, no problem.
So just give them a couple of minutes. Okay, it looks like we back up to 6. So all right, go ahead. Go ahead and kick it off.
Well, all praises unto the Most High. I know everybody is straddling back in, and all praises to the Most High, His anointed Son Yahweh Shah. Shout out to the 12 tribes of Israel. Honor goes to the elders that paved the way on the streets. Also to the brothers, the future elders that's paving the way, on the internet, man. Because I see a lot of young brothers coming up in the spirit, man, and making their rounds and making power moves to help build this kingdom. So uh, let's make sure we say that, give that credit to you, brothers, man, for staying strong. I'm not even gonna say hanging in there, but for brothers building a firm foundation.
Okay.
Because I know brothers get attacked, especially when you out there teaching this word and trying to build with the people and get yourself, spiritually right. It can be a struggle, but it's a beautiful struggle. It's a beautiful struggle. Even when you're going through problems, it's a beautiful struggle. You're forced to look yourself in the mirror and see what you have to do in order to correct those mistakes. And you can't do that without family, spiritual family, at least. All right, brothers and sisters that's going to help you keep you on point in this walk. All right. So okay, we back online. I'm gonna go right back into it again. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Just to give uh, a brief analysis, what we just spoke about, we have to go back into our past to go have a strong foundation for today and have an idea what we're going to in the future. And Job 8:8 says that. We also read about that also in the book of Deuteronomy, 4th chapter and the 32nd verse. I believe I could be mistaken.
You say which one you want?
Oh no, you ain't got to get that. Don't worry about it. I'm just making
Okay.
just randomly talking. And again, we're gonna go into some of the characteristics of Moses and some things that we should know about Masha that we can apply to ourselves. And the setting for this particular historical event dealing with Masha takes place in Egypt. We should know that Egypt is a Greek word that means bondage. And it's actually the Egyptians didn't call themselves Egyptians. They called themselves Chemetians. It was known as the land of Kemet. All right. It was known as the land of Kemet. So the hieroglyphics that we call the hieroglyphics is actually known. It was known to them as the Metuneta. All right. I don't speak Egyptian. I don't speak Metuneta. I'm not from Kemet. My ancestors may have sojourned in that land. Our ancestors sojourned in that land, but we're not from Egypt because we have a lot of our people that really want to big Egypt up. They you know what I'm saying. They look to Egypt as if Egypt is this um was this great world power, which it was, but that's not the Mecca of where we come from. That's not our land. All right. When we was in that land, we sojourned there and we made great advances to further Egyptian culture, sort of say. We came in with arithmetic, we came in with architecture, we came in with belief system, values that we learned from our ancestors, going back to Adam, going back to Shem, going back to Abraham. And Abraham passes information on to Isaac and Jacob. But Egypt not only had influence from Israel, but they also had influence from uh, other cultures. Remember, that land was known as the Fertile Crescent, or the land of Mesopotamia. Right? It's called the Fertile Crescent for a reason, because that's where civilization, black civilization, began. All right. People want to say Africa's the birth of us all. All right. I understand that. We understand it. But when we be technical with it, we know that land was known as the land of Ham. And within the land of Ham, you had many different nationalities, cultures that existed. They came out of the Fertile Crescent. Sumeria was one great civilization as well. They came out of that region. Cush, the family of Cush, came out of that region. And they had an influence on Egypt. So people can't just say, well, Egypt is this great place and everything came. No, they was influenced by others. They was influenced by other civilizations. There was dynasties that took place. And certain dynasties wasn't ruled by the sons of Mizraim, because that's the ancient name of the family of the Egyptians. All right. We know the lies that Esau perpetrates when November comes around or when Easter comes around. So, they show you the Ten Commandments. And then all of a sudden you see all these Caucasian people acting like they're us. Not only acting like and portraying to be the children of God, they're acting and portraying to be the people of Kemet, or the people or the descendants of Mizraim, which is not true. We know that the Egyptians were black people. If you need a book to expound on that, this Babylon and Timbuktu, written by Rudolph R. Windsor. He goes heavy, extensively into that. My cover is messed up, but my cover is gone. But this is when you get past the cover, this is the brother's face, and he was he not acknowledging Israelite. He knew he was a Jew, and he did the research and got the information and put it in book formation for us. Very popular book. If you ain't got this book, you're not an Israelite. I'm just kidding. You don't have the book, you probably don't have the resources right now, or the means of not getting it. But you need to get this book. It's one of the first books that we was told to get when we came out of coming out of the old school up in Harlem. All right.
That's part of the Israelite starter kit.
Yeah, it's a starter kit. The Apocrypha, the Bible Dictionary, Babylon Timbuktu, maybe Arthur Koestler's 13th tribe as well. It's part of the starter kit. You need to have this in your library, right? And oh, that's your book right there. Okay, Bible Dictionary.
Donovan.
Good. Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Got to have that in your artillery as well. You know, sometimes you got to pull out some daggers. Sometimes you might pick up a stone. Your apocrypha might be your shield. Either which way, you have the ammunition and the tools to go to war for the Most High. And I'm not talking about physical war, but spiritual war. All right. Khan, Sister Beverly, all praises. I know you got the book. All praises. All right. And another book I want to expound on to give us a synopsis based on the land that is the setting for Moses and our people prior to us entering the land of Canaan or the land of Israel. Brother, can you pull up that book?
Moses, Temos, and the Exodus.
No, the one says ancient Kemet on trial.
Ancient Kemet on trial. Let me see.
Yeah, it has the Egyptian hieroglyphics on the front of it. It's written by the brother Ben Levy.
Let me see if I got that one. Hold on.
And it should be letter A. If you can't find the cover, letter A on the documentation, if you can bring it up on the screen.
Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah, because I downloaded all of them. I got to see which one that one is.
All right. It should say letter A on the picture. And the front of the book looks like as the Egyptian falcon head on the right side. Got the falcon on the right side.
Yeah, let me see.
Meanwhile, while the brother is getting it, like we said, through the grace of the Most High and giving us this information, it didn't come from out the blue. It's brothers that went and did the hard labor and the research, and there are books that exist that backs up the Bible. It backs up the Torah, the gospel. Remember, Mosiah says in the scriptures that this book is our records. This is our records. The Bible is our records. And some of the things that's written in the scriptures that we might not have a great explanation on, there's other books that scholars have went out and took the time to do the research. So we have it at our disposal. So a lot of the information we have, trust me, we have a lot of information to carry us throughout this journey. Abraham, not so much. All he had was faith. That's why he's known as the father of faith. And he had, there's only one God. That's what he ran with, and that's what he took. And whatever teachings that he received from his parents. All right. But his book.
So like your chief priest, that one didn't come through. You want to send it to my phone real quick, and then I can pull it up.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can send it to your phone real quick.
Okay, count out one, and then I think I got everything else. It looked like I had 10 attachments. I don't know if you sent more than that, but I got 10.
Do you have A? Is that what you need? A?
Yeah. If you got it, pull it up, Barack, because I don't have it.
It says A at the bottom of the page.
It should be in the bottom right.
Right.
Like the other ones. Okay.
All right. Give me 1 second. I just had it. All right, cool.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, Con, I want to see that.
Yeah. If you can pull it on the screen for the people.
You got it out that book right there? I got that book too.
Oh, you got it as well?
Yeah. I got it around here somewhere. Ain't that one of the ones Zion did? No, that ain't the one Zion did.
Yeah, it is.
Too. Oh, that is?
It is.
Con, I got that.
It definitely is.
Okay, Con.
Okay, so like, yeah, y'all. Let me just close all these.
But in the meantime, I'm gonna read from the
Okay,
book
I got
on
it.
page 2. You got it?
Yeah, I got a lot of photos.
Yeah, he's gonna share it on the screen for you, Chief Priest.
No problem. But shout out to the brother Zion Lex for bringing out this information. All right. Yeah, bring it a little bigger if you can. Right.
That's all I can get.
Yeah, big. If you can, just make sure the blue, make that bigger where it's highlighted in blue. Just focus on that.
Okay, come.
Bring it up. All right. Okay, cool. That's wonderful. That's good right there. So everybody should be seeing what's on the screen, highlighted in the yellow and the blue. So this book that the brother wrote goes into extensive history with proofs and facts about the origins of Egyptian culture. As Egyptian culture would state that it was, of course, it was a world power for that time period. But what the brother was bringing out is that it had its influences from other nationalities. All right. And particularly, of course, from us as Israelites, but not as a nation just as yet, because we didn't come into Egypt as a nation. We left out of Egypt in the millions. All right. We came into Egypt with 70 souls. But also Abraham also in his sojourning coming out of the land of Ur, because keep in mind that Abraham was a Hebrew. The word Hebrew means from the past or to cross over. So in Abraham's journey coming out of the land of the Chaldeans, he also was sojourning amongst the Egyptians and throughout the land that was known as the land of Canaan, which would also eventually at some point in time become the land of Israel. So Abraham was already a wanderer in that land. All right. So let's read what the brother points out. Barak, if you can,
Hmm.
start at
I'll read
it
the
says
top.
from the point of view archaeology. Read that part.
Oh, okay, come. From the point of view of archaeology, Egypt seems to literally burst into emergence as an advanced civilization.
Pause. All right. From the brother's research and from what is known to us from throughout the world, that it just seems that Egypt just was just bursting with all this knowledge because they was the, the 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 pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, all these great architecture, the great wonders of the world that come out of there. King Tut's tomb, the land, so forth and so on, the history, the rich history, the inventions that came out of Egypt, right? The papyrus paper, all these things that came out of Egypt. We'll read on.
Without any record of how their civilization developed and became so advanced.
Right. So there's not much records of how their civilization developing became so advanced. Read on.
This poses a very serious question and even a red flag for both Egyptologists as well as archaeologists.
Right. So as far as Egyptologist is concerned, the ologist part, we got to be careful because anytime you see ologist, that means that he sort of tampered with it, right? Certain things he's going to keep to himself, or some things he'll put out to the public. Some of the stuff he's going to keep in the Vatican or away from a certain classification of people. Some books you got to go to the Library of Congress to get. Some books are going to be super duper expensive. So if you want the information, you're going to have to, call for some sequoium, some money to get it. right? Because knowledge is power. Read on.
Every civilization which emerged in history has a record of their pre-advanced culture, meaning Egypt burst into the historic scene as a highly culturally advanced people.
Right. It said that the historic scene of Egypt was that they was striving with culture and they was super advanced, right? But go down to the part where I have highlighted was every culture after that.
Every culture and civilization showed signs of cultural development, from the primitive to the advanced.
From the primitive to the advanced. So in its beginning stages, Egypt wasn't this bursting out the seams of information. It wasn't until certain civilizations and certain nationalities that came into the land. Sumer had a very big effect. The Sumerians had a very big effect on the Egyptians, on Kemetic thinking, philosophy, theology. All right.
Isn't some of those Kemetic gods from the Sumerian gods as well? That we
Khan.
read back in history, yeah. So they pretty much plagiarize a lot of the information.
Right.
I've seen Zion. I've seen a few brothers debating this that that a lot of the culture that Egypt got glory for really came out of the Nile Valley River system in that whole area, going back to down to the Nubians, further down, and all of that. So yeah, kind of all praises.
Khan. And you're dealing with certain known as the Falcon tribe, right? You had also the Falcon tribe. Hold on a second. You had the Falcon tribes that was actually the people that came into Egypt in the beginnings with this advanced technology and cultivation, that they were the ones that began the first dynasties in Egypt. All right. The first dynasty, starting the first dynasties in Egypt. Later on down the line, you also had Shemitic people, what they call children of Shem, was also inhabiting that land. And in that land, they started what was known as the Hyksos dynasty, right? We come out of the bloodline of Shem as well. We're Shemitic. And the same blessings that the Mosai put on Abraham and his descendants, anyone that blessed us, guess what? They got blessed too. Those that cursed us, they got cursed. So Egypt was, they were accepting to us per se, only for a certain dispensation of time. After that, things changed. All right. If you can, give me the page B. Pull up B. Same book. Put up B in front of the screen for the people. All right. And
Got it, Barack?
We get it?
Yeah. Since you already got it, all that stuff going, I'm not gonna.
pardon everybody in TV land, in the background, people walking by and stuff like that. So I ain't the only one. That's your Batazar. That's your beautiful daughter in the background. Or it's your granddaughter?
Yeah, that's my granddaughter, man. She's been walking in this truth since she's been like 1 year old, man. That's
All praises. Okay, all praises.
To the family.
All praises. Yeah, so again, we need to keep that in mind, because Egypt did not just burst on the scene with great intelligence. But in the meantime, while Barack is getting letter B to put on the screen, Yabatazar, can you give me Psalms? The book of Psalms, the 105th chapter, and I believe it's the Psalms 105, while Barack is trying to put up letter B on the screen. Give me Psalms 105. Okay, Khan, I don't want to leave it right there. And we can start from the 17th verse.
Khan out of one Khan. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 105, verse 17.
Read.
He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant.
Right. So the Most High, Yahweh, Baruch Hashem, sent Yahweh, Joseph, the second to the youngest son of Jacob. Right. Joseph, the brother of Benjamin, by way of Rachel, because they both shared the same mother. So Joseph, of course, was sent before them, meaning he was sent further away from his brothers to prepare a way for us in a situation where it was going to be a great famine in the land. But through all his troubles that Joseph experienced, the Most High was preparing him for a great role. So picture the same thing for ourselves. If you're going through trials, if you're going through tribulations, if you look at what our ancestors went through, it's not done for naught. It's done for a reason, whether to correct us for either a sin that we purposely do, to correct us for sins that we might mistakenly do. So we can acknowledge it. The Most High might put you through these trials the same way he put Joseph through trials in order for you to what? Bring out the best in you in order to bring out the best in others, to lead others, right? To give you a blessing, because the Lord wants to bless you. But in order for you to be blessed, the Most High has to make sure that you have been matured enough, that you have been tempered enough. So when you do receive the blessing, you're able to handle it righteously, right? Because we know what Jake does. When he get a blessing, he gets some money. These rap brothers, all right, the young brothers, as soon as they get a wad of money, guess what? They're going to put it to their ears and act like it's a phone, right? They're going to go to a strip club. They're going to spend on a fancy car. And that's the advance money the record label gave them, right? But they got to recoup that. The same thing with the brother that's out there hustling on the streets. He ain't got no credit, but he's hustling and making sure that he has a pair of $300, $400 Louis Vuitton boat shoes on his feet, and he ain't got no boat, right? He got a nice little fancy car, knowing that if he parking on the wrong side of the street, he'll get a ticket. It might get towed. So at the end of the day, they go your car, right? But us as Israelites, when we are about to be blessed, and us knowing this truth, before that blessing comes, we have to expect some discomfort. You got to expect some discomfort. And even with the discomfort that comes in our trials and tribulations, it's also the Most High elevating us. There's levels to this, man. Right? There's levels to this walk. When you're playing that video game on the Xbox or the PlayStation 5, whatever system you got, and you're like, hey, I done passed that board, man. You feel good about yourself. Right? When you step your workout game up to the next level, you feel good about yourself. When you graduate and complete a course and you get that certification or that degree and you see how it empowers you, makes you feel good, right? So the Lord also does and gives us these trials and tribulations in order for us to level up in life, to receive a blessing, all right, to lead others, okay? Most High also allows these things to happen for us, happen to us, so we can have a greater relationship with Him, right? Brothers that's married, you know your wives, so forth and so on. Y'all communicate, so forth and so on. Same thing with sisters. Sisters that marry, you know your husbands. But the Most High wants us to know Him in a similar fashion. Because at the end of the day, guess what? The two greatest commandments. Thou shalt love the Most High with all thy heart, mind, body, and soul, and love thy brother as thyself. And having that relationship with the Lord, it doesn't necessarily come when you at your best, when you at your happiest point. It says in the book of Proverbs, man, it's better to be in the land of mourning than in the land of mirth. To paraphrase. No one wants to be mourning. No one wants to go through afflictions. But guess what? It's a part of the struggle. It's a part of this beautiful struggle. The Lord said, in their affliction, they shall seek me early. All right. So we're about to finish this up in the book of Psalms, because what we just read in that verse was that Joseph became a servant, a slave, right? Read that verse again, Yabatazah.
Khan out of one Khan. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 105, verse 17. Excuse me. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant,
Read on.
whose feet they hurt with fetters. He was laid in iron.
Right. Read on.
Until the time that his word came, the word of Yahweh tried him.
Right. So the Most High tried him. He tried him in the furnace of affliction. He tried him in prison. He tried him as a servant. Not once, but twice he wound up going in prison. Right?
Khan.
He was sold into captivity. Then he was allowed, came up into Pharaoh's house, then accused of a crime that he didn't commit. He followed the scriptures. He didn't engage in fornication. He fled from fornication. And he was accused of something that he did not do. And that's the story of a lot of brothers. Not all.
Huh.
Now, let me take that back. Of some brothers that's in the penal system, accused of crimes they didn't commit.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Khan.
So we can see Joseph in a lot of our brothers. And that's a good formal way to introduce someone that might be experiencing that, by expounding on the lives of the prophets, the servants of the Most High. Because we can see that going on today. Right? Somebody brought up something. You brought something up on the screen?
No, that's just the ticker.
Okay.
That's Friday night class ticker, and then support the channels. Do that periodically throughout the stream.
All praises, all praises. All right. Read on another one.
Khan. Verse 20. The king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people, and let him go free.
Right. Read on.
And he made him lord of his house and ruler of all his substance.
Right. After the Most High tried Joseph, prepped him, prepared him, he was anointing him for a particular purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And that purpose was to be, may consider, viceroy under Pharaoh. He was second under Pharaoh in ruling the land.
Mm-hmm.
He had the power to bind people, throw them in prison. He had that power to execute judgment. And we got to look at our lives in that same fashion. The Most High is tempering us, prepping us, cultivating us, creating us in the image of his son, his anointed son. All right? In the image of his anointed son. That's why Christ told the disciples, man, look, you guys are going to be ruling with me in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to be ruling with me. They were with him during his trials. They was with him. They gave up and they forsaked everything, man. They forsake family. They forsake friends. Money. prestige, careers.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, that episode, man, the Most High definitely raised him up, raised Joseph up, because if we read in the next verse, in 22, it says, to bind his princes at his pleasures and to teach his senators wisdom. So
Wow.
that lets you know that the Most High wasn't playing around. And when they sent back talking about that Egypt was all this great place and they had all this knowledge, it says that Joseph taught the senators wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So what wisdom was he teaching them? The wisdom of the Most High.
Gun.
Huh.
All praises, man. We have to be joyful in that. Because this is our records. This is our book. This is our book, brothers and sisters. This is our ancestors. No one can take claim to this except for the so-called Negroes, so-called Native Americans, and so-called Latinos here on the four corners of this earth, man. This is our records in our book. Read on. What you got from there?
I think that was that on that because it was going into when Israel came into the land.
Okay, all right. So leave it at that. No problem.
Okay.
Now bring up that information from the book.
There you go, sir. It's on screen.
Okay, no problem. Make it a little bigger if you don't mind for the people. Okay, that's good. No problem. So I'm gonna. Hey, Barak, read that for me, please, Baba Kushab. These findings.
These findings. Oh, I could read up to the. I could read up. Well, yeah. These findings laid the foundation for what is termed the dynastic race theory, an archaeological base theory which posits that pre-dynastic Egypt was invaded by a highly advanced culture coming out of Mesopotamia.
Right. So it said that Egypt, the brother brought out, Egypt was invaded by a highly advanced culture coming out of Mesopotamia. So I don't want to hear that crap. Excuse my language, man. It's not profanity, but I don't want to hear that crap, man, about Egypt was this great country or this great land, and it was bursting with all this technology. Listen, that technology and information they got, it was plagiarized, and they got it from other civilizations. Just like here in America. What makes America so great? First and foremost, the 12 tribes, nation of Israel is here, number one. Two, they have something called the United Nations. America is so great because you have many multiple cultures and nationalities that have brought their history here, that the United States or the United States of America has taken and adopted as its own. That's why in the scriptures, what is America known as? In the comments section, what is America known as in the book of Revelation? Let me see if somebody get it right.
Where you at, Bathia? Hey, where you at, Mother Bathia? You always got the answers. Come on, Mother Bathia, where you at?
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
Right.
She said Egypt. That's Sister Christ Princess. We got Netanya, Judah, 1971. She said Babylon.
Right. But the sister, the Tanya Khan, Babylon is correct. It's also known as the daughter of Babylon. It's correct, Princess. Yes, it's also known as Egypt. But I was referring to Revelations. But Khan, if we was in school right now, you two sisters would get a treat. All right? And I mean that in a nice way. Remember, you get answered correct, they give you the motivation to keep on answering questions in class. Good. All praises to all the sisters. I appreciate that. Babylon, Khan. Prince of One West, Revelations 11 and 8, Khan. All praises. The
Yep,
water, Khan.
and I hit the
Yeah.
precept on there with Psalms 137 and 8.
Oh, you want to bring that out? Bring it out.
Yeah, this is Psalm 137 and 8. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. And this goes into the dashing of the little ones against the stones.
Mhm.
Khan. And that also precepts with, I believe, someone in the audience had brought out Revelations 11:8, the brother Prince of One West.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna
water
grab that
brother,
real quick.
Khan. The water brother, the water sister.
This is on the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 8, and it reads, hold on, wait a minute. I'm in the wrong one. Did I jump in the right chapter? No, I'm in one. Salakia. This is Revelations 11 and let's see, 8. Yeah, he brought it, Revelations 11 and 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. I don't think that's the one we was looking for, but that's still a great precept.
It's a great precept. It's a lot, sisters. I know I mentioned just now about Egypt. Khan. Egypt is definitely another spiritual name for United States of America as well. But the scripture that we was probably looking for is in the precept. Both those scriptures in Revelations, the 18th chapter, and that's the actually is the first verse,
Revelations 18.
1 through 4.
18. I'm pulling it up now.
But start from the second verse, 18 and 2. Don't read the first verse.
Hey,
Read
Barack,
Revelation 18.
Barack, stop your screen share for a second. All right, cool. Let me pull it up because we like to go. Okay, this is the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Right. So as John the Revelator at this time was banished to the island of Patmos, he had the opportunity to see Yahushua that appeared to him. All right. In angelic form, body and all. And at the same time, he was shown events, of course, that would take place in the last days, the great destruction, and the angels that was opening up these seals. All right. These seals. Open up the seals and scrolls. And different events was taking place on the earth. So John the Revelator had the opportunity to see World War I, World War II, World War III. Okay? And he's speaking about Babylon is falling because he saw the vision of America falling. The government, the nuclear destruction, the civil war that's going to take place in this land. One thing that America can brag about, but they has not had an invasion from another country. I'm not talking about a terrorist attack. They haven't had an invasion from another country on American soil. That hasn't happened. I ain't talking about no civil war, between the North and the South.
Oh, what about when the British was coming? I think that's the only time. But they was in bed together, so it was like sister versus brother, sister versus sister.
Yeah, that was them trying to liberate themselves from Great Britain. They wanted to carry on a freedom from Great Britain to actually that was actually a maneuver that was orchestrated by and funded by other, what they say, secret societies, so forth and so on. All right, it was definitely orchestrated. And slavery, we know, of course, played a major role in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and has become the habitation of devils in the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that foul spirit, and the reason why we have every hateful bird of other nations, because of democracy. Democracy is what has spoiled this country and sent it in the pits of hell. Because actuality, they use democracy, but we know that America is really based on capitalism. All right. Whoever has the money, whoever has the gold, rules. Whoever can control the masses and be able to use and utilize the people in a manner of servitude, guess what? They're the ones that control how this government is being orchestrated and being run. So we're being led under a false democracy. But also democracy allows you to have freedom of religion. It allows you to be a homosexual, a child pedophile. That's what democracy has done. All right. And that's the reason why we have the confusion that's going on in this world. Read the next verse after that.
Cut out of one cut. Let me pull it back up. Also, I put a question up there by one of the sisters, the sister Netanya. Okay. And verse 3, it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Right. Every nation, I'm gonna answer sister's question. Give me a second. Every nation has came over here to America and benefited, except for the nation of Israel. We're the ones that's still being oppressed. The Arabs can come into our communities. The Chinese can come into our communities. Open up 2-3 Chinese restaurants on one block and still be able to sustain their families and send money back to their country in order to bring more of their people in our neighborhoods to open up businesses. So when the nations have drunken of, they have all drank of her wine. It's talking about the philosophy of America. Remember, Chinese used to wear their ancient Chinese garments. Remember the karate flicks back in the days?
Mm-hmm.
They done gave that up for what? A suit and tie. In order for you to do business here in America, you better look the part. All right? The other nations have drunken. And it all goes back to democracy. The American dream. The American dream is only good, is only benefited the other nations. And the American dream, of course, we know is a lie. Because in order for you to attain the American dream, you have to be asleep. Spiritually asleep. All right? The minute you wake up, American dream is gone. No such thing. All right?
Yeah, one of the sisters posted, democracy means demonic government. Demos stems from the Latin demos, which means demon. And what did she say? What is it? Accuracy or cracy is Greek for government.
God.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Look at a lot of these statues and you see gargoyles all throughout New York City. All right.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Because we know that, hey, at the end of the day, man, you know, it's a vibration that is being run and controlled and manipulated by Satan.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Most High said the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. You know, things that's taking place behind the scenes. And sister, as of right now, we're working in the process of getting a sanctuary, a place of shelter for us to teach and edify the people. So we're working on it, but we do have high holy days where we do come together. So if you want information about the next time we'll be renting out a venue, and you would like to come and fellowship with us, we can definitely do that for you and send you some more information. Of course, we out on a weekly basis at 44th and Broadway, Times Square. If you ever in the Midtown region of Manhattan, and you want to come by and show your support, we're definitely out there every weekend for the most part. And in the meantime, we have this particular platform that we're using on the web in order to bring some sort of comfort. Yes, I know it gets a little lonely, and we're gonna bring out some scriptures on that too. You ain't the only person that was lonely. Moses was lonely too.
God.
Right, we're gonna bring that out. I'm sure Joseph was lonely. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we go through our isolation period in this walk, and we know that Yahweh Shah took time to go and pray separate from the disciples. So don't be discouraged if the Most High is isolating you from from people in general at this particular point in time. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes isolation could be good for some people because it gives us the opportunity to reset, reprogram, not for a long period of time, not too long. All right, that's when Satan's going to come at you. All right, but sometimes we go through these little isolation periods in our lives, especially if we're in a new state, new city or whatever, or just going through some experiences. Okay. Let's drop that in Revelations. I don't want to go too deep into that too much right now.
Okay.
And bring back what you had on the screen. And this is the cover of the book that we're reading from. So bring what you got on the screen, Barat.
Come.
Okay. Go down to the next paragraph where it says these findings. Can you get to that part? It's on the same page.
Oh, I got that. I got that already.
Oh, you read that one already?
This part right here, I don't think we read this part right here. This last part in the yellow. That's where you scroll down to when we left off.
Oh, okay. All right. Con, read that.
This then, according to Petrie, explains why ancient Egypt burst into the annals of history as a highly advanced civilization. Because the proponents or foundations of pre-dynastic Egypt were heavily influenced and, in a sense, founded by Asiatic conquerors from Mesopotamia or Samaria, who themselves came from a more advanced civilization in the East, Mesopotamia.
Right. So this guy, Petrie, who was a scholar who did extensive research, through his observation, through his studies, realized that it was a more advanced nation that came out of Mesopotamia that invaded Egypt and brought this new way of thinking, technology, archaeology, advancements in agriculture, especially, over there by the Nile Valley, which is flourishing with all types of riches and minerals. So you had an advanced race that came and was able to utilize everything that was in that land and to bring it to an advanced state that it was. And it began to grow in due time. All right. You also had, of course, the Hyksos. Like I said earlier, through the scriptures, we're going to read a shadow of them in the scriptures as well. When you hear about the Egyptians, they hated shepherds. There's a reason why they hated shepherds. Because why? The Hyksos were known as the shepherd kings. Okay, they were known as the shepherd kings. And when Joseph was in the land, one of the last, he came in the land under the last dynastic rule of the Hyksos. And after that, of course, Joseph had children, and his children had positions of rulership in the land of Egypt. And that begs the question, and to beg to differ, when we ask these questions, remember the Lord said he's going to sojourn in the land for 430 years in a strange land. That land, of course, referring to Egypt. Were we in slavery that whole 400 years? 430 years? I'll leave that for another class. All right. So is that it on that?
God, I got a slide C. No.
Okay, you got that? Read that.
Okay, come. This history repeats itself in Egypt's Middle Kingdom, where Asiatic conquerors, known today as the Hyksos, conquered Egypt in the Middle Kingdom era, and once again, with the influx of Asiatics in Egypt, comes a change and renaissance in the cultural and intellectual landscape of Egypt.
Right. Right. You had different dynastic rules, because you got to keep in mind too, if you know about the land masses of Egypt or Kemet, it was a conjunction of upper kingdom and lower kingdom. And these upper and lower kingdoms weren't always unified. They weren't always unified. You had different pharaohs that was able to, unify Egypt as a whole, but it wasn't always unified. All right. So let's keep that in mind. So let's go to the synopsis. What is the name of the book? Oh, name of the book is called Ancient Kemet on Trial by Avidel Ben Levi. All right. Avidel Ben Levi. Ancient Kemet on Trial. You can get that book from Amazon or any prominent bookstore in your area, hopefully. So let's go to Exodus, the first chapter. Let's go into the basis of this class and know more about Moses. So that's the background story of what Egypt is and what it became under Joseph's rule. Now going into Moses as the patriarch of Israel, one of the patriarchs of Israel in the land of Egypt, to bring us out of the land of Egypt, to bring us into the promised land that was spoken of by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we're going to get Exodus, the first chapter.
Count out the one I got you. You pull it up on the screen.
In the meantime, while we get Exodus, the first chapter, Barak, can you start bringing up documents that I sent you? Letter F. F.
Oh.
In the meantime, don't put it on the screen yet, but letter F. All right. Whenever you're ready, give me Exodus, the first chapter.
Count out the one where you want it. Where you want me to start?
Start from the first verse.
First verse, count. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt, every man and his household, came with Jacob. Verse 2, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher.
Read on.
And all the souls that came up out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
Right. So 70 souls, 70 individuals came into Egypt. They came out of the loins of Jacob, right? Including their wives that went down there. Joseph was already established in the land, all right? And Levi plays a prominent role in the stories, in the scriptures, leading up to Moses' birth. We see that the tribe of Levi also, when we read the document I'm going to bring out, Levi was one of the last sons of Jacob, the last son of Jacob to have passed away. All right. Read the 6th verse.
Count out of one count. Verse 6, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
Right. So all his brethren had passed away. Remember, Levi was the last son to have passed away. So he had a strong influence, especially on his own tribe. Okay? If that makes sense. Read on.
Verse 7, and the children of Yashala were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Right. So we was multiplying like crazy. We was exceedingly multiplying in that land. Does that sound like captivity to you?
God.
Not yet.
Yeah.
You're
Sound
not
like
yet.
baby kids.
No,
Sound
they
like baby
multiplying.
kids.
You know what I'm
Sound like
saying?
baby kids. We don't die. We multiply.
Right. So, at this time period, we began to wax mighty. And the Egyptians saw that. There was a difference between us and them. Okay? The Most High was dealing with us. He was blessing us. And he was blessing us out in the open. That's why I said it became mighty. All right? Do you have that documentation that I wanted you to bring up, Barak? Hold that there.
Kind of I do.
All right. And that is letter F, right?
Kind of, that's letter F.
Okay, cut. Bring it up on the screen if you don't mind. Now, for those of you in TV land, brothers and sisters, we're reading from a book known as the Book of Jasher. All right. Some of you may have it, some of you might not. It's a good book. Meat, some bones, but for those that do extensive research and studying, you'll see where some of the bones are located and what is meat, what is the milk, which is easy to digest, what might be a little more complicated to comprehend without other reference books. All right, but read what you got there on the 30th verse.
Come. And Zepho and Hadad put their forces in battle array, and all the Egyptians went alone against them, about 300,000 men, and not one man of Israel was with them.
So these Egyptian generals, right? They going out to war, going out to a battle. Okay, read on.
31. And all the Egyptians fought with these kings opposite Pathros and Tachpanches, and the battle was severe against the Egyptians.
Right. So they fought with all these different kings. All right. The king of Chetam, one of the kings of Ishmael, and they was fighting this battle. Read on.
And the kings were stronger than the Egyptians in that battle. And about 180 men of Egypt fell on that day, and about 30 men of the forces of the kings, and all the men of Egypt fled before the kings. So the children of Esau and Ishmael pursued the Egyptians, continuing to smite them onto the place where was the camp of the children of Israel.
Right. So they're fighting against the children of Edom and the children of Ishmael. And they're losing this battle. The Egyptians are losing this battle in the process. All right. They getting cut down. You want to say something, Barack?
Oh, no, come.
All right, go ahead, read on.
And all the Egyptians cried unto the children of Israel, saying, Hasten to us and assist us, and save us from the hand of Esau, Ishmael, and the children of Chittim.
So why they ran to the children of Israel? What was so special about us? They was actually trying to give us hell at this time, but they ran to us. All right. There's a reason why they ran to us. We just read it in the book of Exodus, the first chapter. We became mighty in the land. They saw that the Most High was with us. They knew the Most High was with us. In the land of Goshen, that's where we was located. They had a structure for us in the land of Goshen, and the palace was right next to what we might consider the ghetto. And that's where we were staying at. So was everybody in Egypt of the Israelites, we, for the most part, we was all catching hell. But look at our captivities. There's always been certain benefactors, certain people that receive certain amenities that came with siding with the enemies. All right. When we read in certain, books and scriptures, it say the children of Israel, when they went in the wilderness, they wanted to go back to Egypt. They said they missed God. They missed certain foods. So Egypt couldn't have been, you get what I'm saying? It's just like here in America. That's why we have they have that pyramid in the back of the dollar. We're being oppressed here, but you still get your paycheck. You still enjoy certain aspects of life, but for the most part, we get it. We still oppressed in this society. It's the same thing that was going on back in ancient Egypt. That's why, like the brother brought out in the comment section, or the sister, pertaining to Revelations 11:8. This land is called spiritually Sodom and Egypt, as a vibration of Sodom and Gomorrah and the captivity, the physical captivity of Egypt, the oppression that exists. All right. Keep on reading, and then after that, bring up document G.
Because I know it gets.
You left off at the 33rd verse. I'll read the 33rd verse down to 34, and you bring up document G. It's going to say the letter G. It says, and all the Egyptians cried unto the children of Israel, saying, hasten to us and assist us and save us from the hand of Esau, Ishmael, and the children of Chetam. And the 150 men of the children of Israel ran from their station to the camps of these kings, and the children of Israel cried unto the Lord their God to deliver them. Right?
I got you.
God. And you notice we always crying. Jeremiah always crying to the Most High. Moses, he was crying to the Most High about how hard-headed and stiff-necked and rebellious Israel was in the wilderness. even to the point where Israel wanted to stone Moses. It's like, man, Moses, you brought us out here to die. He had to hear that every day. Someone constantly complaining. Right? Read the 35th verse. Matter of fact, you hold that there on the screen, and Yabatazar, you still there?
I can get it. What you want?
I want to go back to Exodus. I want to go back to Exodus just so we can tie some loose ends up. Because when we go further down, we're gonna read about how they tried to deal with it a certain way. Exodus, the first chapter, and read the 7th verse again.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
So the land was filled with us, right? Became exceedingly mighty. Read on.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
Right. It said they rose up a new king that knew not Joseph. All right. This new king, the reason why they're talking about it being new, because this was a new dynasty where the Egyptians, the children of Mizraim, got control over Egypt from the prior dynasty that was making their exit out, which was the Hyksos. Okay? These people were different in culture, mindset than the king that just came in that knew not Joseph, right? The new Pharaoh that knew not Joseph. And let's see what they were saying about Joseph, because they knew that we were becoming mighty and they feared that. That's why it's in the 6th verse, 7th verse, it's mentioned that we became to be waxed strong and mighty in the land. All right. Read that 9th verse. Read that.
God, and he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Read on.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. So get them up out of the land.
Right. Bring back up the document that we had before. You're going to leave off at verse 10 and bring up back document G. All right. So the Egyptians said, let's deal wisely with these people. Cunning, serpent-like. Right? These were they were our enemies, but in disguise. They didn't come out full force just as yet. All right. It was a progress. It wasn't just overnight. Oh, well, you know what? We're going to oppress them. No, it was a gradual steps that took place. Gradual levels of evil, levels of wickedness, levels of oppression before they came down with the hammer. All right. Because we're mighty, right? We're moving strong. So they were trying to outthink us. Okay. Now read what you got in the document, that 35th verse.
It's the 35th verse, and from the book of Jasher.
Right.
And the Most High, and the Lord hearkened to Israel, and the Lord gave all the men of the kings into their hand. And the children of Israel fought against these kings. And the children of Israel smote about 4,000 of the king's men.
Right. 4,000. They slaughtered 4,000 of the king's men. They coming into this battle already. All right. They coming into this battle and they already slaughtering people left and right. Read on.
And the Lord threw a great consternation in the camp of the kings, so that the fear of the children of Israel fell upon them. And all the hosts of the kings fled from before the children of Israel. And the children of Israel pursued them, and continuing to smite them onto the borders of the land of Cush.
Right. So they slaughtered them all the way up to the borders of the land of Cush. All right. Cush would be the Ethiopians today, or the Babylonians in modern time. All right. Cush was one of the sons of Ham. Okay. Read on.
39. And when the Egyptians saw that the children of Israel had fought with such few men with the kings, and that the battle was so very severe against them, all the Egyptians were greatly afraid for their lives on account of the strong battle. And all Egypt fled.
Pause. So they got afraid, man. The Egyptians said, wait a minute. They slaughtered all these people with this limited amount of men? Guess what the Egyptians did? They wanted to deal with them wisely, right? They was afraid and they left them. They left them. They bounced. It's like you going with your friends, y'all, you get into some street stuff, whatever. You walking down the street, you got your friends, and all of a sudden you see another group coming in your direction. And all of a sudden everybody lock eyes and discrepancy. Then it gets physical. And then you're the only one that's standing there fighting, getting your butt kicked. Everybody done left you. All right? But through the grace of the Most High, you get the upper hand and you take out the other group. Meanwhile, the people you came with, they done left you. They done scattered. Right? That's what happened. This is what the Egyptians did. Okay, keep on reading.
Come. Mm-hmm. I'll just keep on reading. Okay. And all of Egypt fled, every man hiding themselves from the arrayed forces, and they hid themselves in the road, and they left the Israelites to fight.
Read on.
And the children of Israel inflicted a terrible blow upon the king's men, and they returned from them after they had driven them to the border of the land of Cush.
Read on.
And all Israel knew the thing which the men of Egypt have done to them,
right?
That they had fled from them in battle and had let them fight alone.
So they left them. They let Israel fight alone. read what Israel going to do. Keep on reading.
So the children of Israel also acted with cunning. and as the children of Israel returned from battle, they found some of the Egyptians in the road and smote them there.
So they was mad. They said, wait a minute, you left us in the battle. They saw some Egyptians in the road. They probably looked left and right, make sure nobody was looking. They took their swords and killed them damn niggas, man. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly what happened.
They killed them. They smoked them Egyptians because they bailed on them. They saw some of them in the road and they said, you know what? You punks. And they killed them. All right? Keep on reading on, brother. Brother Kashaw, please. It's a good story.
I want to get H right now. So if I just get them all up, I'm just going to be fumbling. So I'm just getting them all one at a time.
Okay, no, don't worry about it. Did you don't worry about H right now. But is this to show us at the end of the day that,
No, I got H.
No, do you have, because I wanted you to finish G, because G has more
Oh, G got more? Okay.
Yeah, we could going down to 44. Is it cut off on your page?
Oh, yeah, it is cut off a little bit.
It is cut off a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's cut off a little bit.
Nah, don't worry about that. But it when you read further on down the line that they went back to Egypt and they went back to the land of Goshen, but they slaughtered those that you know they knew from then on out that the Egyptians was planning their demise. That's why the scripture says that the Egyptians said, "Let us deal cunningly with them." Cunningly. All right. In the meantime, you can get H if you want. Right, get H. Get H. You can get that. You about to say you want to bring out something?
Salaki, one more time. Other one.
Did you want to bring something out?
No. I was just getting the screen ready so I can make sure it's set up right.
No problem.
Get the best view of that.
Okay, so that is now H is page 194. Now, at this particular junction, this is when the children of Israel is building the palaces for Pharaoh. All right, that we read about in the next few verses. All right, where he kept his treasure, his monuments, or museum, or his victory rooms. Right. Read what you got in the 20th verse.
And when Egypt and all the children of Israel heard all the servants of Pharaoh had spoken, there came from the Egyptians and the children of Israel to build with the servants of Pharaoh, Pithom and Ramesses, but none of the children of Levi came with their brethren to build.
Right. So remember I told you Levi was the last of Jacob's sons to be alive. So he had an influence on the people, especially the tribe of Levi. Right. So they was supposed to work, the people was working to get paid to build these palaces for Pharaoh at the time. Right. Drop to the 25th verse.
And at the end of a year and 4 months, all the Egyptians had withdrawn from the children of Israel, so that the children of Israel were left alone, engaged in the work.
Right. So it was not only the Israelites that was building, but the Egyptians were building as well. Right. But at some point in time, through progression, these Egyptians began to just withdraw themselves. And what they was doing was like, well, look, I'm not going to work no more here. You take my pay. All right. Or give me portion of the money. I'm going to give you portion of my money. And so you can continue the job, so forth and so on. As like a laborer, right? Read on.
And after all the Egyptians had withdrawn from the children of Israel, they returned and became oppressors and officers over them. And some of them stood over the children of Israel as taskmasters.
Read on.
To receive from them all that they gave them for the pay of their labor.
Right. So these same Egyptians withdraw themselves and they became taskmasters over Israel. Not only did they oppress them, but they started to steal and take their wages from them. You got dirty cops and they rob drug dealers, right? You got dirty cops that do all kind of stuff in the community. Same vibration, same spirit. All right? They became officers over them and began to mistreat them. Read on.
And the Egyptians did in this manner to the children of Israel day by day in order to afflict in their work.
Right. Read on.
And all the children of Israel were alone engaged in the labor, and the Egyptians refrained from giving any pay to the children of Israel from that time forward.
Pause. So it was a gradual progression. It was a gradual progression. You see how they started dealing cunningly with? They started to deal cunningly with us. That's why sometimes it's important to get a library of books that's going to back up what the scriptures is saying. To get an understanding of, okay, it's more to this verse. This verse can cover a 200-page novel. All right. Now go back to Exodus. Go back to Exodus.
You want me to pull it up?
The Exodus 1 and 10.
Okay, Exodus, we're in the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 10. And it reads, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass, then when they're, hold on, let me just, and when it comes to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
Right. And we saw that for an example. When the Egyptians bailed on us, what did we do? We turned around, and slaughtered those, man. We slaughtered them Egyptians that left us. We saw some on the road and killed them off. So we understood now that, hey, the Egyptians are not, these Egyptians, the ones that did not know Joseph, they had a hatred towards us. They knew that the Most High was with us. All right. Was a question sister asked about beer? She wanted beer something?
Now she was saying, is this when they start paying us in beer?
Meaning in barley.
Barley.
In barley. Let me get back to you on that. I don't want to say Khan and I don't want to say La'ah. I'm just not too familiar with that time frame. So I'm gonna get back to you on that, sister. All right.
Yeah, because it looked like you might have to do a 2-part class on this, Chief Priest.
Cause maybe a 3-part class because this is part 1. Because we still in the history at the background scene of what setting the stage for Masha, for those to come on the scene. All right.
It's something in there that Mother Bethia gonna love when we get to it. It's on page 3.
Oh,
that part
okay.
right there. Yeah, it's beautiful. She gonna light up when she see that.
On page 3.
Beverly Pleasure. Yeah.
All right. Page 3 of what? Which book is this?
That's the one with Moses and the Exodus.
Oh, is that Josephus?
No, that's the PDF you sent. Moses and the Exodus.
Oh, I sent you guys a PDF, like 45 pages, right?
Yeah, I got it. Her name. I'll give her a secret. She might want to hang around. Her name is in there.
Oh, okay. You know what? We're gonna have to do a part 2 and a part 3 because that's a lot of information. But Khan, the thing that's so enlightening that you brought it out, because remember, Ramses is not the name of. It's not the name of. It's actually the name of a pharaoh. It's actually a title.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ramses is not the name of a pharaoh. It's actually a title. Okay, but according to 2 sources, one of the sources I had was according to this website, papers.ssrn.com, and that's where that 45-page PDF comes from. That it was Tutmosis the first, second, and third. They're saying that the Tutmos was the first, was the pharaoh that knew not Joseph, right? So this is not when Moses was born. They're saying that Moses was either Moses was born during the time of Tutmosis the first or the second. Tutmos the third was the pharaoh that was the pharaoh of the Exodus. Okay. The third. But then when it's debatable. When you read Babylon Timbuktu, it does mention a different name, but he doesn't really go too much in depth because that wasn't Egypt wasn't the foundation of Babylon Timbuktu.
Right.
It was to just
Weren't they still divided at that time? Upper and Lower Egypt. They weren't like a united kingdom, as some would say.
well, Tutmos, they were the ones that united it. All right,
Okay.
that dynasty was able to unite it, but prior to that, there was still Hyksos here. They was the main governor in the capital, but you had opposing forces on the other side. So it wasn't completely united at that time.
Okay.
But excuse me. Yeah. We gotta do a part 3. Part 2 and a part 3 to this, because it's a lot of history. I can see why Amalek will just be what the Torah itself deals with so much, the law, the history. When you get into numbers, the reason why numbers are very valuable. That's dealing with the gematria and things like that, because even the Hebrew phonetics have a value system to it. We learn about the agriculture and the food in Torah writing as well. So I can see why Moses is a prominent biblical character. All right. So read on.
Kind of pull it right back up. We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 11.
Right.
Therefore they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
So we just read, they built them treasure cities. Remember what happened? This is a building process. It's like going to a job site. All right. You agree, everybody's working. But at some point in time, the Egyptians began to withdraw from the work, and they let Israel build it on their own, but they seduced them with the wages. All right. But at some point in time, these damn Egyptians came back, became officers and taskmasters over them, and began to withdraw their wages from them. They began to abuse them. All right. They began to deal with us wisely and cunningly. And that's no different than what America does today. The so-called white man America does today. Not the same way they use witchcraft in Egypt and sorcery, America does the same thing. Drugs, technology. Right? Was the Egyptians into homosexuality? That's a question. You know what I'm saying? They was, hey, look at their dress code, man. You know what I'm saying? Look how they used to dress. And we know the Egyptians, they wasn't no scrawny looking Edomite looking like Rick Moranis, or you know what I'm saying? They were tall. The real Egyptians are of Sudanese descent. They look almost like Manute Bo. All right?
Yeah, kind.
And this was the people that Moses grew up around. He was amongst them. He even had, an Egyptian name. What does Moses' name mean? To be drawn from. Drawn from what? The water. But we read in the scriptures, we understand that the Heavenly Father was setting this all up for Moses to be that leader, to be that guy. All right? So read the 12th verse.
Con out of one con. We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 12. And it reads, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Yasharallah.
Read on.
And the Egyptians made the children of Yasharallah to serve with rigor.
Right. They made us to serve with rigor. This is when now you're starting to read about the hard bondage.
Mm-hmm.
The hard bondage. But we were still in the land prior to that. Were we working and enslaving like that for that whole you get what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in mind. We have to keep that in mind. Because if we grew mighty and multiplied in the land, all right. But read on.
God. In verse 13, in verse 14, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor.
Read on.
And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then shall he live.
So what does that sound like?
Planned Parenthood.
Right. That's what it sounds like. Planned Parenthood. Population control. They was controlling the population of the men. They understood that the men would be these children would multiply and the men would go to war. The men would defend the families. As the brother said, the Torah is light for all of us and the other nations, right? Afraid we going to take over. Con, you're right, Sister Beverly. They was afraid we was going to take over. And that was the decree. Like babies, kids, we don't die, we multiply. Con. Nothing new under the sun. All praises, con. Birth control, yup.
Yeah, we be having a live chat, man. The sisters be out working the brothers, man. They be in tune, man. They be shaming the brothers sometimes.
all praises. It's inspiring for us because it's a commandment from the Lord that when Christ told disciples, go feed my sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Feed my sheep. That was a commandment. Feed my sheep. Not only feed them, but also bring them comfort. So those of us that do know and have the ability to be teachers or evangelists, and to also, be leaders in this walk, that's our job. Your job is not to take your wisdom in your light and to hide it underneath your bed. That's not your job. If you know this truth, is to teach your family and to teach the Most High's people. And not only is there a reward for that, but it also benefits us physically and spiritually in our health.
Hey, Chief Priest, you got this one right here?
What book is that?
This is the Torah come from the culture to marry, which is another word for Kemet.
La'ah. I don't have that book, brother. You're gonna have to probably put me on to that one. Give me some more synopsis on that, so I can figure out a way to get my hands on it.
I wish I'd have brought this up earlier because I was looking for some of my books, and actually, when you was talking about the Hiscos and the Asiatics and all of that, it was talking about what was that? Amenes the first constructed the walls of the prince. The interesting part is that he was the first ruler of the dynasty 12. This means that the Asiatics had to be in Egypt already for him to feel he had to build a fort against it. And then it kind of goes a little deeper into it. It talks about scholars now state that the ruling family in the time of Joseph and Moses were the rulers of the dynasty 12. Joseph going into Joseph being sold as a slave. Then it says the timing in the 12th dynasty of Egypt concerning that's going into something else. So yeah, I might be able to add some more stuff to what you're talking about the next time you touch on it. I'm gonna go.
Okay, cut on one. We're gonna have to do that. We're gonna definitely have to do that so we can, bring it all together.
Can.
We can bring it all together and have it laid out for everybody with some slides, because I know it's going to be a part 2 and a part 3 to this class. We have to do
Can.
part 2 because I know.
Hey, what we can do is in the future after we do the classes, I can set everything all up in a PowerPoint, point by point. So if we ever do a presentation or something like this or touch on this again, we can keep adding on to it as we go forward.
Con on the one. That's beautiful. All praises to the Most High. So let's finish this out so we can go into Moses, and then we can close it out and go into part 2.
Can. Verse 17. But the midwives feared Yahweh.
So the midwives feared the Most High. They feared the Lord. All right. And that shows our influence that we had on the midwives, on the people in the land. And you got to keep in mind, what is the midwife's job? Sisters out there, what's the job of a midwife? All right. Said the Margaret Sanger of that time. Hallelujah. All right. Nobody answered the question yet. What's the job of the midwife? Deliver babies. Con, Sister Beverly, 100% right. Deliver babies. Their job is to deliver babies. And we know that, us men of the Most High and men of noble character knows that the physical makeup between a man and woman is different. All right. The nature itself, but we complement each other. All right. It brings balance, not only to the world, but also to our families and our homes. So these midwives are supposed to deliver babies, not kill babies. All right. Safely deliver healthy babies. Con. Natanya, Judah, 1971. Con, sister. All right. Deliver babies safely, not kill babies. But you have to be one sick bastard, man, to just slaughter children like that.
Hey, I had an experience with that with my firstborn child, man. Somewhere or another, the grandparent and all that got a hold of Planned Parenthood. Never heard of them. These folks was trying to get me to sign my rights away, or trying to get my son's mother to abort my firstborn. One happened. And that's when I first found out about Planned Parenthood. And I've never liked the place ever since, because it left a bad stain in the taste of my memory, in my mind. Yeah.
And in certain states now, especially in the red states, they pass protocols and laws, especially in the Bible Belt states. So people have to travel, to other places to get that procedure done. And of course, I know. Hey, look, we know that the Most High says that children are the fruit of the womb, and we understand that circumstances in life, because we live in a broken world. So my great grandmother was a midwife. She delivered my mother. All praises.
God.
Praises, sister. Con. All praises. And that's a natural way of birth. You know what I'm saying? Because some people still do that, have their children delivered in their home, and they have a midwife. All right. But
hey, just real quick, if I may. Hey, Brother Alberto, can you do me a favor? Your question right there about breaking down Shemos, Exodus 14 through 14. Do me a favor, send that question over to the email below. This is an actual class, and we handle the Q&A tomorrow. So if you want to send that question to the email below, we'll definitely have that queued up for you with Chief Priest Shard, Nathaniel, and the rest of the brothers and the officers.
Kind of the water, right? And when we see that, to this day, because remember, our people was sacrificing other nations. They were sacrificing also when you read the scriptures, to a god by the name of Molech, a deity, a false god by the name of Molech, Molech, and he was the deity of the Moabites, and they said that he was tossing their children into the fire,
Mm-hmm.
into the fire. When we read in Genesis 6 chapter, it says about how the sons and daughters of men, there was complete wickedness on the earth. There's information that goes back then that the women was stopping their womb
Mm.
because they
Can I
wanted
bring
to
some out?
cut on one.
I'm bringing this out dealing with Molech, right? It says, a heathen god worshipped especially by the Ammonites with gruesome orgies in which the little ones were sacrificed. At
Mm,
least in some places, an image of the god was heated, and the bodies of the children who had just been slain were placed in his arms. The worship of Molech was known to the children of Israel before they entered Canaan. So that just goes into a little bit of what the chief priest was saying.
cut the water, the one. Really appreciate that. I
Okay.
really appreciate that. Oh man, that's wild, man. That's terrible. That's terrible. And tell you, that is nothing new under the sun. Even back in during the time period prior to the flood, tell you that that the women, they was taking certain um, medicines and sorcery to prevent them from having children because they wanted to keep their physiques. They didn't want to go through, the 9 month dealing with pain, so forth and so on. All right.
Okay. And that goes right back into that law back right there in Exodus 21, 22 through 25, when it talks about if a man strive and hurt a woman with child, whereas here it is, it says, this is Exodus 21 and 22. If men strive and hurt a woman with child so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall surely be punished according to the woman's husband, and will lay upon him, and he shall pay the judge. The judge to determine. So even in an accidental situation like that, where such as say two men got to brawling, knocked a woman over, she lost her child, there was a penalty for that. We see that written in the law. You know what I'm saying?
Kind
So just imagine if that was just on accident over two brothers drunk brawling or whatever, and then you purposely go lay down and open up your quiver to let Esau go up in there with the lawnmower and chop everything up.
of. Yeah. And that's why the Mosai said that he was bringing these curses on us, man. Going back to Deuteronomy 28th chapter, that the women shall be evil, you know, to the child that cometh out of her womb, out of the matrix. Men
Yeah,
too, all right? Men
yeah.
too. But we live in a society now where, man, you got demons on this earth, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know this stuff that's going on behind these horror movies is real, brother. You know what I'm
And you know,
saying?
God. And Mother Bathia said back in the day they used hangers to abort the children in the 50s and 60s. Mother Bathia, I knew about that back in the 80s and 90s. They were still doing that nonsense
Wow.
with the hangers. Yep, with the hot hangers.
Damn. Damn. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Now, which movie are you talking about, Sister Natanya Judah? The one that you said the Amalek was deep into that. There's an old video of them reenacting this at a World Fair in the early 90s. Is it anywhere you can pull that video up and drop it in the chat for us so we can get access to that? Baba Kasha?
Wow. It's in a world fair. It must have been a circus, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
God. Wow.
Yeah, it was in Chicago actually. The
Oh,
World
Yeah,
Fair.
it sure
Yeah,
was.
I already seen it. I already seen. I watch a lot of those World Fairs. No, but they got it where the Amalek. I mean, where Baal is. They're doing that. He's to get the mouth open. It's
Oh, yeah, come.
It's wild.
Con.
It's kind of wild.
Wow.
And then they do that, and then they did that again. I think they had another one in England or somewhere in Europe, and they had a bull this time, but it was still Baal, and he was
Yep.
mechanical bull, right? And the sick part was there were sisters out there, and there was a whole bunch of Gentiles out there all together doing that.
So this is going on in back then. They was doing what, like live.
No, I'm talking about they did it back then in the 1900s, and they did a recent one right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Within the past like 10 years, they've done it. So
I
Wow.
just dropped.
moving to the sun, basically. They
I
were
just
still
dropped.
doing the same thing.
I just dropped one of the videos in the chat. I just found one of them. And that one is from 1933. And let's see. Yep, that's the Molech Baal Chicago Warfare, 1933. I just dropped it.
Okay.
I have to go back and watch that myself. What he said here in NYC that they're here in the NYC that they're with co-hangers that was widely done by ladies of the night, by their pimps, and the base heads was doing it too. God.
Con.
Yeah,
Con.
that was widespread across America.
Right. Yeah, man, and that must have been heavy during the crack epidemic too, because that was when our people was, you know, they dropped that. That was like a nuclear bomb they dropped on the hood, man. When that drug came on the scene. So, yeah, just thinking about that made me sad, brother. But hey, this you know, and the Lord said in the scriptures, man, that we became even more wicked than the wicked.
Yeah.
We became more wicked than the wicked. I mean, Esau got to pay, of course, but we in the situation that we're in right now because the crimes that we committed in ancient times. But let's go back to Exodus. Let's finish this out.
Con.
In read the 16th verse again.
Con, I don't want con. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 16. And it reads, and he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then shall ye live.
Right, because remember the man carries on the posterity of that family's lineage, right? The woman, she can marry another man of another nation, and she takes on that man's last name. She becomes grafted into that man's family.
Mm-hmm.
That's why even to this day, you watch television and movies. The agenda has always been to turn our sisters against us, because Esau knows at the end of the day that, hey, even if his seed is mingled in with the daughters of Zion or children of color, his spirit, his name, his bloodline still carries on. All right. So let's continue.
And verse 19. Hold on, Salakia.
You skip something.
Yeah, 17. But the midwives feared the Most High, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive.
Right. But the midwives feared the Most High. All right. And they saved the men children alive. The same very book of Joshua, it was said that they would take the children, the midwives, they were supposed to take the children and bring them to the rivers and drown them. Because you got to wash the child off, so forth and so on. But they was told to bring the children to the rivers and drown them. But they didn't do that.
Done.
All right, read on.
And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively. for they are lively and are delivered here, the midwives come unto them.
Right. So it said, remember, the Lord says the difference between the Egyptians and Israel. He said the children of Israel, the children or the daughters of Zion, they were lively. What does it mean by lively? Any brothers and sisters in the chat want to expound on that?
I bet Bethia know. Where's Wanda at? Where my sister at? She in my age. She always be asking us to go like 4-5 hours, and then she not here. Where's she at? I can actually pull that up for them real quick too, if you give me a second.
Right.
Exodus. Give me a second.
No one knows in the chat. The reason I give 60 seconds. I know someone out there knows what it means by that. Why did it said the 19th verse? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively. I guess they ain't type fast enough, right? Well, the key to understanding that verse is what we read earlier. All right.
So I got it pulled up on the blue letter. It says vigorously living, having a vigor of life, which is a horrible definition of it. That means that, to me, when I read it, it means that those women were lively. They pop out, be ready to brawl, but they put their hands on them.
That too, but it had. But remember, they're giving birth.
Right.
So if they're giving, remember the Lord said Israel became mighty. They began to multiply exceedingly. They weren't just giving birth to just one child. It was giving birth to twins, boys, girls. And when they was doing it on stools, keep in mind, they had energy. So they're giving birth to children. And these children, you know how you said it was lively? Egyptian women go into pain, give birth. Guess what? They knocked out. There's not much you can do after that, right? Your body then went through a process of bringing forth new life. The children of Israel, the daughters were bringing forth new life, and they was still had that vigor and had that energy. All right? The baby was just popping out. They never seen that before. They weren't used to seeing that. But the children, the daughters of Israel had that. They had that vibration. The Most High was with them.
Oh.
They were lively. They was giving birth to these children, and they were still walking around and, happy about it and everything at the same time. It couldn't. They probably would have put some hands on somebody about this. And back then, they, what was the American terminology? They would give birth laying down, but back in ancient times, women used to give birth standing up, sitting down, like in a crouching position.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
They say that's better on the woman's hips, and that's the more natural way to give birth. Because when they're laid up with their legs back, it's actually crunching up their insides versus it being a natural flow.
Right.
And I might not be saying that right. I could be saying it wrong.
Right.
But yeah, it just didn't make sense for them to be hiked up with them legs like that to push out when they can just squat it out.
Now, I'm sure one of the sisters are going to be able to elaborate that in the comment section real soon.
Right.
They never seen that before.
Yep. The sister said, Natalia said, yep, I know that's right. My daughter came out in 3 pushes.
All praises.
God.
All praises. God. It said, according to some commenters, they were knowledge that they gave birth unassisted before the midwives. Okay. All right.
Done.
Mm. So uh
Want me to finish that out?
we finish it out.
Okay, hold on. Okay, verse 20, it says, therefore Yahweh dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to
Mm.
pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, that he made them houses.
Right.
And Pharaoh charged.
And a lot of them pause for a minute and just
Done.
keep in mind that when we left Egypt, it wasn't just only Israelites that left out of Egypt. Remember, it was also a mixed multitude. And it's to show us the influence that we had, because Egypt was a metropolis city just like America. You didn't just have Egyptians there and Israelites there. You had other nationalities there as well.
Done.
All right.
Done.
It tells you that in other sources that Moses' wives came with him. I mean, had left out of Egypt as well. You had other nations, the mixed multitude, and they followed our laws up until a certain point. You know what I'm saying? They followed our laws. Then we had to get them out the land because we don't went to captivity under the Babylonian Empire. We had to, we had to rebuild. But yeah, keep on reading on that one.
Done. Verse 20, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and
No,
every
were you reading something over? What are you reading now?
I left off when we stopped. I was reading 21, and the last one was 22.
Okay, Cunt, go ahead.
All right, in verse 22, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Right. So of course the midwives didn't follow suit with that. And Mosai blessed them. Mosai said he built them houses. They got and received houses. And I'm sure they probably received that. Hey, Shalom, Dan. Shalom on the one. All praises.
Oh,
Congratulations.
God.
Congratulations, Ganyala. You know what I'm saying? All praises to the Mosai. Prayers answered. And yeah. And this is the end of chapter 1. We have to do a part 2, but I'm going to give you some insight into Moses. I'm actually going to give what was special about Moses' burial. That's a question to the audience. Remember, Moses took credit for breaking the rock, giving the people water. They aggravated him so much. Even though Moses was a meek, very meek man, he wasn't just all introvert. All right? Is it introvert or extrovert? Which one is the person that keeps himself? Introvert, right?
You said the Most High buried Moses.
Right. Mosai buried Moses. That was special about Moses' burial. All right. Something else that was special about Moses' burial. It was something special about him. Remember, the Mosai preserved the shoes in our feet at that time that we was in the wilderness. And we're going to continue with part 2 sometime next week. It was something special about his appearance. Remember, the Mosai fed us with manna, bread from above. He was not a man of words. No, Moses was a man. Moses taught. He was an introvert stage today self. He had both. He was introverted, extrovert. Let's say it like that. He had both because I'm like that. A lot of brothers is like that. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Sister was right. Mosai, blessings to the sister Natanya. Someone built that sister a house.
Come. That sister hand clap for real.
In the K. Right.
That she was on point.
All right. So that the next lesson is gonna be somewhat geared towards that. We'd having good exam. Okay, for all praises. So let's get the scripture on that. Give me Exodus. All right. Give me Exodus. Deuteronomy 34th chapter, 5th to 7th verse. We still got go over a few more books, but let's stick to the scriptures. We can bring the books out for next week's class. Exodus 34 and 34th chapter and the 5th verse. Barak, you get that, brother.
God.
Like you fall asleep on me, man. You tired?
I drank too much coffee.
Oh, okay. Good.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 34, verse 5, and it reads, So Moses, the servant of the Most High, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Most High.
Right. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, because remember, he took credit. He took credit out of anger for hitting the rock and giving our people water. But you got to understand, he was dealing with a lot. But he was also considered a friend to the Most High, and that hurt the Most High's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But he was still able to see the land from a distance. The Most High showed him the land. All right. So he had a bird's eye view. Read on.
And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab over against Beth Peor. But no man knoweth of his sepulture to this day.
Right. No man knows where he's buried to this day. Right. No one knows. Give me Matthew's. The 17th chapter in the first verse, Yabatazah.
Come, we're in the book of
No, say this. Don't read it yet, brother. Don't get Matthew's yet. But I just want to elaborate. You hold on to Matthew 17 and remember what Barak just brought out. Because remember, you got to keep in mind what would happen if they knew the burial site or the tomb of Moses. Of course, they would excavate it, right? They would ransack it. Esau is gonna go do a thorough search of it, so forth and so on, put it up for display, everything that comes along with that. Now, Barak, read on. Baba Kushab.
This is 34, verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he had died. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated.
Right. So from the time when Moses was born, he went, conquered in his, let's say his youth, 30s, late 20s, went out to battle as a general in Pharaoh's army. Right? His birth was a miraculous birth. When you read in the book of Joshua, everyone knew that that the Most High was with him, that his God was with him. He was controversial amongst the Egyptians. He wasn't always well liked amongst his people. His people expected him at that time to at least deliver them. But something that happened, he became a fugitive. He wound up going from Egypt into the land of Midian for 40 years, right? Married another woman. By the time he was 80, he comes back to Egypt with the decree from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So from 80 years old, that's when he begins his political move to redeem Israel from the hands of Pharaoh. He dies at age of 120. But they said something special about his body. Read the 7th verse again.
And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated.
Nor his natural force abated. His eyes didn't get dim. He didn't need glasses. His natural force, his natural strength. So if you 40 years old and you in your prime back then, because 40 years old is young. You 40 now you start talking about you getting older. All right. 40 years old back then, you probably was as vigorous as a teenager in your early 20s. He says natural force wasn't even abated. So the whole time that he was in Egypt, and from the time that he was in the wilderness, the Most High preserved his strength, preserved his body, preserved his physical well-being. That's why the scripture says that in a book, was a book of Proverbs, the word of the Lord is health to thy navel, man. Brings health to the bone marrows of individuals. That's what the word of the Lord does. Right? That's why we have to have a daily consumption of it and applying it. So now we know that Moses, in his death, was still young, right? Get Matthew the 17th chapter. Yabatazad, who I told you to bring out, Baba Kushah.
Okay.
Barak, give me John 20th chapter and the 12th verse. You give me what you got, Yabatazad first, and then after that, Barak is going to give me the book of Matthews.
Okay, what did you want in Matthew 17?
Start from the first verse.
Con, I got it, Con. This is Matthew 17:1. And after 6 days,
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me get it. Hold on. Let everybody else get it.
Con.
I mean, this is like the climax of the movie, right? All right.
Con, let me just make sure I got it up. Hold on. Okay, so it's still showing that one. I got to switch tabs. Okay. Okay, Con, I don't want. We're there. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 17, verse 1. Right. And after 6 days, Hamashiach Yahushua taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart.
Right. So he didn't bring all the disciples. He brought Peter, right-hand man, right?
Mm-hmm.
James, the one he loved. We read about that in the book of James, and John, right? His brother, because they had the same mother. Read on.
And was transfigured before them.
Right. So this mountain, hold on a second. This mountain transformed before them. They were no longer in this mountain. They was in a mountain, but it transfigured before them. And it was an eyewitness to that was Peter, James, and John. They were actually was inside of a chariot. You're gonna see. Read.
And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light.
Right. So talking about Yahushua. All right. He was showing aspects of his glory in angelic form on earth. He shined like the sun. We know wisdom causes a man's countenance to shine. But he said his face shined like the sun, as if he was in the presence of the Most High. Because remember, Moses was shining too, right? Did Moses shine? Why did he shine? You're about to say? Because of wisdom?
Yeah, because of the wisdom and the light that the Most High had upon him.
Right. He's in the presence of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So that light was magnified on him. That's when the people saw him. They was like, yo, who is this guy? He was afraid of Masha.
Good.
But he was in the presence of the Most High. That's why the Lord told him to fast for 40 days. Right? So this same light that was on Masha, this greater light is on Yahushua because of who he is. Matter of fact, he's the one that gives the light. Right? Read on.
Con. And let me see. And behold, there appeared unto Moses and Elias talking with him.
Right. Say, and behold, there appeared them Moses and Elias, which is Elijah, talking with who? Yahushua. They having a conversation amongst themselves. And Peter, James, and John was an eyewitness to that. Read on.
Con. And then answered Peter and said unto Hamashiach Yahushua, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias.
Right. So he said one for Moses and one for Elias. He said make 3 tabernacles. So that's one of the reasons why the Most High had to take. No one knows where Moses' body, his burial was, because people would worship Moses, and that's not what the Most High. The Most High said, "I should have no other gods before me." Right? They would worship Moses. All right. He said, "Let's make here 3 tabernacles." Now read on.
Verse 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him.
The Most High to shut that down. He said, "No, this is my beloved Son. You got to hear him. He's the man." Peter was trying to make Yahushua, Elijah, and Moses equal contemporaries. When the Most High is like, no, it doesn't work that way. He shut it down real quick. A voice came out. Right? Read on.
And Salakia, verse 6. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid.
They was in that spiritual realm. They was inside that chariot that they thought was a mountain, but it transfigured.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now they got access to the skies. Cloud comes, Moses' voice scared them half to death.
Good.
Right? Read on.
And Hamashiach came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid.
Right. It stopped right there. All right. Now give me what you got, Barak, in the book of John, the 20th chapter, the 12th verse. Read what you got. So we just got Moses shut that down. Yahushua is the man. He's the one that is the pillar that sits atop all other saviors. Joshua was a savior. Moses was a savior. Jeremiah was a savior. Right? But there's one name that sits at the top. That's why he's the King of Kings and Lords of Lords. Joshua's name means savior, right? But he's not the Messiah. He's not the Mashiach. So here Moses is trying to show them, look, yes, Elijah and Moses, those were the two, they were the man back then. Even back then with the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Scribes, they debated and talked about them more than any other prophets. Right? So now read what you got in John 20th chapter, the 12th verse, and then Baba Kushah, Yabatazar, give me Mark 16 while he's reading that, please.
This is the book of John, chapter 20, verse 12. And seeth 2 angels in white sitting. Hold on, let me read. Verse 11. But Mary stood without at the sepulchre weeping. And as she wept, she stooped down and looked into the sepulchre.
Remember, all right, so this is Yahushua. The prophecy was that he's going to be raised on the 3rd day. They went into the tomb to go maintain the tomb, right? They didn't know that by the time they would get there, Yahushua's body would not be there. But instead, it was somebody else that was in there. It was some other people that was in there. Read on.
And seeth 2 angels in white sitting, the one at the head and the other at the feet.
Right. One was sitting at the head and one was sitting at the feet where the body of Yahushua had lain. So these two angels was inside the sepulchre, inside the tomb, right? Read on.
And they say unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? She said unto them, Because they have taken my Lord, and I know not where they have laid him.
Right.
And when she had thus said, she turned herself back and saw Yahushua standing, and knew not that it was Yahushua.
Right. So the question I have asked the people, who were these two people that was inside the tomb? Yabatazar, give me what you got.
But read.
Mark 16.
Con. Salakia. All right, this is the book of hold on, I gotta switch tabs. Okay. Hold on. All right, this is the book of no, hold on. Salakia, I got it right here. This is the book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 1.
Right.
And when the Sabbath was passed, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him.
Talk about Yahushua. Read on.
And very early in the morning, the first day of the week, they came unto the sepulchre at the rising of the sun.
Read on.
And they said among themselves, Who shall roll us away the stone from the door of the sepulchre? And when they looked, they saw that the stone was rolled away, for it was very great.
So they saw this stone was already rolled away. Now the reason why it's going through time, because I remember I asked the question, who were these two angels, or who were these two individuals that was inside the sepulchre? You should know by now, because we read a little while ago, but it's going to explain. I'm going to show you how it ties into the book of Deuteronomy. Read on.
Verse 5, and entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side.
So wait a minute. Pause. It said that they saw what? A young man sitting on the right side, right?
Mm-hmm.
They saw a young man sitting on the right side. Who was that young man?
Where y'all at, chat? Where y'all at?
Who's that young man? And why?
Y'all there?
They did. I'm sure they did. They're thinking. Remember, Yahushua was speaking. He had a conversation with who? Joshua? No, it wasn't Joshua. It wasn't Joshua. Remember, yes, it was Moses. Sister 101. It was Moses.
They told us it was in the previous verse.
Right. It was Moses that was there. Because remember, we read that Yahushua spoke with Moses and Elijah at that time. And the key to that is understanding this. When Moses passed away, what happened? He didn't decay. He didn't decay. He didn't get old. He was in his strength, in his vigor. How do we know? Because Satan, the devil, wanted his body, right? Finish reading that and then get the book of Jude.
Okay, kind of.
We're gonna end with that. But read that, read the 5th verse again.
God, and this is Saint Mark chapter 16, verse 5. And entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment, and they were affrighted or frightened.
Right, and read what Moses said. Read.
And he said unto them, Be not afraid. Ye seek Yahushua of Nazareth, which was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. Behold, the place where they laid him.
He said, behold the place where he laid him. So the prophecy was fulfilled, right? Now, this next verse is going to give you the key to understanding that this was Moses. All right? Because remember, again, we know in Deuteronomy that he didn't decay. He was in his vigor when he passed away. He gave him the spirit. So he was young looking, right? Okay, read on. You about to say?
God, I don't want God. But go your way. Tell your disciples and Peter that he
Pause.
goeth.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. He said, why did he emphasize? He said, tell the disciples, and he said he emphasized who?
Peter.
Why?
Peter was the rock, right? Rock of the church.
We just read it. Why did he emphasize Peter? How come Moses knew Peter by name? Why would he specifically say Peter? We just read it in Matthew 17 chapter because he was there with him. He saw him. We have to go into the scriptures and look at it like Peter wasn't just, oh, snap, they go Moses. He interacted with Moses. He interacted with Elijah. Why you think he said, look, let's build a tabernacle for all three of them? The Most High said to shut that down.
God.
That's why he emphasized tell the disciples and tell Peter. Why he say tell the disciples and then tell Thaddeus? Or tell Matthew? Because Matthew wasn't there when the mountain transfigured. Peter was there when the mountain transfigured. Does that make sense?
God.
Get the book of Jude. Last scripture. Jude. All right. And
I think it's I got it. Just Jude 1 and 9.
you know what's that part where it says about the Okay, read that.
This is the book of Jude, verse 1, chapter 1, verse 9. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses.
Right.
Durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuked thee.
So they wasn't just talking. You know what I'm saying? This was a violent argument, a violent dispute that was going on in that either in the spiritual realm or on earth. We couldn't see that, but Satan wanted the body of Moses. It was the first of its kind. We know Elijah got taken up. He didn't die. He didn't get buried. He was taken. The Most High took him. Chariot, a whirlwind came and snatched Elijah up. Moses, body didn't decay. He was in his youth when he gave up the ghost. And it said that the devil was disputing over the body of Moses. He wanted that body for himself, man. Who knows what he would have did with that? Probably put it on display. You know what I'm saying? You know that the Germans had access to the spear of Longinus. That was the spear of the Roman soldier that pierced the side of Yahushua. And they believe that whoever had possessed that relic was able to take over the world. We know that the Germans, of course, they're like the Levites of the Edomites, right? They deal with a lot of science, a lot of experimentation, dealing with black, they call, black magic. So that's they was into. But they knew that blood of Yahushua was on that spear, and it possessed some sort of virtue. Anything Yahushua touched has virtue to it, right? But who has it? Who wants to keep it for themselves and put it on display? All right, either that or they're gonna keep it hidden. They're gonna make sure that only people that have access to this is those Edomites, the global elite that speak to Satan directly themselves, face to face. All right, so that's why they had it was a big fight between Satan and Michael. We know Michael is the defender of Israel. All right, he's the warrior, and he didn't get that body. He didn't get his body. All right,
And the sister said they probably would have cloned him and made him wicked as hell.
Hey, that's how that's how this man moves. Wonder Wanna and you never will. WS got the black churches on smash just like in slavery. Okay,
Come,
all right, yeah,
come.
man. But I'm not gonna hold everybody up too late because I know some people just came home from work. I just came home from work a little while ago,
Come,
and tomorrow's gonna be another class. But there's gonna be a part two,
come, come.
and part two is gonna go. You know, Moses was a meek man on the earth. Moses had many names. All right, he wasn't just known by Moses. That wasn't the name that his mother gave him. That wasn't his name. His father called him by a different name. Remember, he ain't see his brother and sister. His sister Miriam was a prophetess. She prophesied his uh about his rival. Sister said, "I dreamt I was okay.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, let me get that.
We're so
Yeah, I want to hear
close."
that. Yeah, she said, what did she say? I dreamt I was beamed onto an all white chariot a few years ago. I was in my room and saw it outside my window. I got scared and tried to run, and a beam of light shot out, and I fell on my bed. I opened my eyes, and I was inside an all white spacecraft, but I couldn't see any faces. We were all wearing white. I thought to myself, that's how it feels to die. I didn't feel a thing. All praises to the Most High. And
All praises, sisters. God.
Sister Wanda work doing what she do. She politicking trying to she always she politicking. Look at her. She just
Oh,
won't let it go. Yeah,
okay. She trying to plant us to stay till 12 a.m. Huh?
she be talking about them 5 hour sessions, man. We could stay like we could do an all nighter.
Oh, okay. I understand that. Cut. But yeah, this I through the grace of the Lord, like when we were speaking earlier, you know, especially during the work week, sometimes you be like, man, let me stay up and get as much study as I can. By the time, you know how it is, the flesh is willing, but the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to put that work in and try to prepare a lesson, especially if the Most High puts something on your heart, because sometimes you don't know what you're gonna talk about, but sometimes certain things stick, and when it begins to stick, it's like you're thinking about it over and over. So I was like, okay, and I see, you know, Jay-Z got Blueprint 1, Blueprint 2, Blueprint 3, so we can do analyzing Moses 1, 2, and 3. All right, because it's you know Moses got angry. We gonna get angry. Imagine we all leaders within our own house. So how many times you done got angry and it just it just wasn't in the spirit of righteousness. You see what I'm saying? Moses got angry, but he was angry at the people. Moses was mad, man. I had to bring these hard-headed people out into the wilderness. When AOC does the all-nighter, it will be via Zoom. Okay. That's a future prediction, Sister Wonderwana, or all praises. Trying to stay to prove myself approved. All praises, kind. His anger caused him a problem, right? You know. So there's different aspects about Moses that we can learn from and that we can apply it um, to our artillery. So, and that's it, man. Brothers, Barat, you got anything you want to say, comment on? Anything you want to bring out?
Well, I'll probably save it for the part two. They got a lot of good PDFs and I've seen a lot of stuff, so I'll save what I got.
You had some libations before you got on the got on the class, brother.
No.
God. Hey, me and Barack be up at like about 4 o'clock in the morning getting our day started.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, with the early birds,
What's-
so like I called myself, I had to step away a few times 'cause my eyes were rolling and yawning. Glasses giving me a migraine. I've been standing at a monitor all day. But as far as this class, man, hey, all praise to the Most High. We thank you, Chief Priest Kalaka, coming on, blessing us with this wisdom and knowledge. And once again, we thank the livest chat in Israel on YouTube. We appreciate y'all tuning in with us every Friday night. Y'all could be anywhere else in America with your Friday night, but y'all choose to be here with y'all brethren. So we salute y'all. We love y'all. And we thank you again until next time. And on that note, Shah Shabbat.
Shabbat.
Shah Shabbat, Kwam Yasha'Allah, to listening and viewing audience. Stay strong, man. If I know I invited some people, some brothers, to check out the tonight's class. Hit me up, send me a text. These were brothers, not necessarily in the camp, but they're associated with us. So hopefully they'll let me know how the class was. If there's anything, any brothers within the camp or even in the audience, if there's anything that I may have not answered your question pertaining to, you can ask it next time I come on. Or remember tomorrow's class with Chief Priest Sharnathanya, will he be doing the Q&A that you can ask as well as Barak and Yabatazai and the other officers that's going to be available for tomorrow. And with that, again, all praises to the Most High. I know this walk can be difficult, but count your blessings. And shout out to the general for motivating brothers, man, to continue to do the work, and Most High using him and using the rest of all you brothers, you know what I'm saying, to move and make power plays in your communities, because you brothers are light. You know what I'm saying? Brothers is light. You sisters are light in a dark world. All right, and we're gonna see a lot more things. We're gonna start seeing the demons come out, come out the fourth dimension, and they're gonna be live on television.
God.
That time is coming. All right, that time is coming. So with that, stay strong. Kwam Yasha'Allah. And Shalom, family. Most blessings to y'all.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.